you all know the history of creationism, let me divide it into two sects, for lack of a better word. Today you're going to learn the difference between young Earth and old Earth creationists. Then, half of the remainder of this series will consist of lectures on how to combat young Earth creationists, and the second half will consist of lectures on how to combat old Earth creationists. As the name suggests, young Earth creationists believe that the Earth is young, whereas old Earth creationists accept the scientific fact that the Earth is old. How young and how old? Well, our scientific data shows that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old, so the old Earth creationists are certainly more scientifically literate than the young Earth creationists. However, keep in mind that I'm saying more. Just because the former are more scientifically literate than the latter doesn't mean that they are scientifically literate. I am simply using a term of comparison. So, it is pretty laughable when you look at how old the young Earth creationists believe the Earth to be. They think that it is only 6,000 years old. Yes, I have mentioned many times how the young Earth creationists believe that the Earth is only 6,000 years old, but it is only in this lecture today that I'm saying that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. 6,000 versus 4.5 billion. Let that sink in. I did the math on my calculator, and I discovered that the young Earth creationists are wrong by a factor of 750,000. They are so far behind by 750,000 times the number of timescales they would need to discover the true age of the Earth. Apparently it all started with a 17th century Irish Anglican priest named James Ussher. He quote-unquote calculated that the Earth, based on the chronology of biblical stories and a literal interpretation of God creating the Earth in 6 days, was born in the 5th millennium BC, specifically 4004 BC. I've left in the description below a link to the Encyclopedia Britannica article about James Ussher. Again, we will start going over how to combat young Earth creationism in the next lecture, and after many of these class sessions, we will finally start discussing the ways to combat old Earth creationism. Join me in a few minutes for my History 01 lecture, in which I continue discussing Sumer, a land of men and women who were far more intelligent than James Ussher.